Welcome to the Zero Trust Journey podcast, created by cybersecurity practitioners for those walking the same path. We share real stories, hard lessons, and hard-won victories from the field, so you can sidestep the pitfalls and deliver the wins. Grab your coffee, tune out the buzzwords, and let's get into the real story right here on the Zero Trust Journey podcast.
Welcome everyone to Zero Trust Journeys. All right, Zero Trust, what you're saying. So in this one, this is a new segment. We talk about Zero Trust and all the cybersecurity news. This segment is particularly for the September 2025. With me, I have my co-host, Tiernan. Tiernan, say hi to our audience and we'll jump right into it.
Hi, everyone. Great to be here and ready to share.
The first news I have is from September 1st, Remo blog. They have, the heading is Jaguar Land Rover, my favorite, by the way. Production halted by major cyber incident. So what happened? OT-IT convergence risk. The attack was severe enough to halt production at multiple global factories, confirming the severe financial impact of breaches that move from IT to operational technology, so OT. The primary goal was likely interruption and ransom, a tactic increasingly popular against critical manufacturing over purely data exploitation. The attack on a large, connected global enterprise demonstrates that highly integrated supply chains create massive points of failure. This is not new in a way. I mean, yes, it might be new for the Land Rover people, but this happens a lot where you have scaled your IT infrastructure. Security was not part of it. Incident happened, and I bet you right now at Land Rover or Jaguar Land Rover, they are focusing on actually improving the security posture and all the bells and whistles. I am sorry this happened to my favorite brand of the cars, but again, this is something that why security is an afterthought because of this. Doesn't mean that they didn't have security. Doesn't mean they're not doing the right things. It's just nature of the game. So, Tiernan?
Yep, definitely. And we look at segmentation within IT security, but then now we're really seeing where you need to hold segmentation between OT and IT as well. And then on September 3rd, 2025, CISA and Industrial Cyber, CISA unveils Zero Trust guidance to safeguard connected communities. So what is it? Zero Trust is an infrastructure standard. CISA is officially establishing Zero Trust as the national cybersecurity standard for critical infrastructure, including energy, water, and local government systems. Technical debt. The guidance strongly recommends creating budgets to retire legacy systems that cannot meet Zero Trust requirements, rather than layering new security on old, vulnerable technology. Usability is key for adoption. CISA recognizes that disrupting users' day-to-day work is the fastest way to fail a Zero Trust transition, making user experience a critical implementation factor.
All right, the next one I have is from September 9th, U.S. Department of Justice. Ooh, let's see that. Ransomware administrator charged with attacks on 250 plus companies. Wait, I heard of network administrator, I've heard of system administrator, I've heard of security administrator. What is ransomware administrator? So, with that joke, what happened? The DOJ is actively attacking the ransomware as a service, RAAS. So, infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service, ransomware as a service. This business model by targeting the administrators responsible for maintaining multiple variants and coordinating attacks. The charges cover 3 different high-profile ransomware gangs, demonstrating a persistent, coordinated international effort to dismantle this RAAS ecosystem. Public announcements of successful arrests are part of the global strategy to deter other individuals from joining or operating within the cybercrime community. This seems like the back in 70s mob style where the cops are actually handpicking the central system or people who are managing the money so that they can dismantle the mobs. But hey, this is the new world now.
Yep. And I think seeing these public arrests for these leaders in this ransomware as a service, making it so public, I think is great to see that there will be repercussions. And then September 10th, Mary Talk, the Pentagon to release updated Zero Trust strategy by the end of the year. The DoD's upcoming Zero Trust Strategy 2.0 will specifically include guidance for operational technology, as we mentioned earlier with Jaguar, formalizing how to secure systems outside of traditional IT, action over planning, With the 2027 deadline approaching, the focus has shifted entirely to procurement and deployment, pressuring all defense components to buy and implement zero trust solutions now. So, using zero trust as a living strategy. The update shows zero trust is not a static mandate, but an evolving framework, incorporating lessons learned over 3 years to better defend against modern threats.
I am looking forward to this ZT 2.0 by end of the year because I think first this shows that there was a evolution to zero trust guidance, if you will. Second, hopefully all the feedback we've been given, this reflects in this ZT 2.0. Next one I have is from September 12, SWK Technologies. FBI warns Salesforce users under attack again. So a lot of us have heard that news. Let's talk about it. The FBI warning confirms that threat actors are actively exploiting SaaS and CRM platforms like Salesforce, or the name was Sales Loft Drift. This was, I think, part of the Salesforce, and then a lot of people or a lot of companies use Salesforce. So it was kind of supply chain attack as a highly valuable supply chain vector. There you go. What was the gateway? Social engineering. I mean, again, you can have the best tools and the best people in the world, but if someone can charm their way into the digital or physical world, I mean, all of those fancy tools can be useless. So the attacks rely on phishing, and tricking employees into installing malicious applications, reinforcing that the human element remains the easiest path to initial access. I agree. I come from ethical hacking world. I think breaking into a firewall or breaking into all the technologies, it is so difficult, time consuming, and honestly, almost impossible. Versus if I can convince someone to just install my malware on their computer from their lateral movement privilege escalation, it is much easier. This highlights the need to extend zero trust access controls like least privilege, continuous session verification to every third-party application, integration, and external vendor.
Yep. And people remain the easiest way in, as you mentioned. Yeah, expanding that zero trust strategy, not just internally, but to who you're working with. And on September 15th, Tech.co, carrying data breach, luxury giant, Gucci owner, confirms sensitive customer data stolen. What is it? High-value PII target. Luxury brands are prime targets for collecting rich consumer PII, names, addresses, spending habits, used to craft future personalized social engineering or fraud attacks. Beyond financial data, the loss of PII, even without credit card numbers, shows that all customer data is valuable to attackers seeking to monetize identity. Retail sector risk. The incident adds to the list of major retail security incidents, emphasizing that the sector must significantly enhance its data segmentation and access controls. So again, it's not just the credit card information. It's going after the identity of these high profile or high asset individuals and using that information to further commit fraud.
It's pretty cool, actually. You know, you go to these high value brands where the information of the customer is there. You have the shipping address, mailing address, you have their maybe last 4 digits of their credit card somewhere. You have their first name, last name, email address, phone number. So most of the information that I need to scam a person in a way. And then maybe start sending them emails that Gucci is launching a limited edition and only sending it to few of their customers. And it's completely fake. The product is fake, maybe a E-rated product. And you get this lot of money collected from most of the customers who fall for that scam. Not that I'm saying or suggesting anyone, but I'm just saying like it seems that kind of scam could work. Like if someone knows the brand that I wear or I like, if I get an email that this brand has launched limited time beta release product and it's half the cost or even 10% of the cost that I would pay, I might just pay that 10% and maybe I get the most shittiest product in the market. And I might chalk it up as like, oh, this was a beta testing. Maybe it's not a good product. So I will never report to the company. Whoever is actually attacked me will get the money and even credit card information so they can even do more damage to me or my wealth. So Seems pretty cool scam. Again, not suggesting anyone to do it. The next one I have is September 18th from Fed Insider. Hot topics in cybersecurity, the importance of zero trust architecture event. So in this one, they're saying ZTA is strategic, not tactical. We cover this on this podcast at length. The focus on ZTA in federal forums confirms that ZT, Zero Trust, is viewed as the governing security strategy for digital transformation rather than a single technical solution. 100% double stamp on that statement. Legacy system integration, that's been a conversation around when it comes to Zero Trust, where discussions confirm that the hardest practical challenge in a large-scale ZT adoption remains the integration and interoperability of modern ZT tools with existing legacy IT infrastructure. So if you have those monolithical old applications, how do you enforce session checking? How do you have like maybe a single sign-on using SAMP or other technologies or other solutions? And the last one is continued interest from state and local governments at these events indicates that the ZT principles are naturally spreading beyond federal mandates due to the model's effectiveness against modern attacks. I rest my case.
Yeah, and as mentioned earlier, I mean, one of the larger challenges is integrating these modern tools with legacy systems and then trying to scale it from there. So yeah, great to see it's going beyond federal mandates. And then on September 3rd, CISA, widespread supply chain compromise impacting NPM ecosystem, open source crisis. The Shai-Hulud worm infecting over 500 packages is a critical supply chain attack on the core of modern software development, the NPM registry, showing that the weakest link is often open source trust. Zero trust for devs. CISA mandates pinning dependencies and using phishing-resistant MFA for all developer accounts, confirming that developers are now a high-priority zero-trust identity. Lateral movement in code, the worm's self-replicating nature via compromised developer credentials showcases the severe risk of uncontrolled lateral movement within the software development pipeline.
I agree. When it comes to, I think, the HVT, high-value target, for those who come from the Army background, they'll get this. It's the developers, administrators, super admins. Because if I have those credentials, if I actually get those, I pretty much have access to everything. I can even create an access for myself as an attacker. So I think I totally agree when it comes to zero trust strategy. If you are looking at the identity and access management, look at those HVTs, high value targets, those who have a lot of access in your digital system, who can actually have the ability to create more users, additional users. I think that's where you'll have the layered approach of IAM, not just as simple as that everybody has MFA, everybody has using a password or passwordless keys or whatever you wanted. For your HVTs who can create additional users, maybe there are additional steps or there are additional ways that you need to make sure when they are creating those additional users and logging into the systems. The next one is September 25th from CISA as well. CISA directs agencies to mitigate critical Cisco ASA zero-day vulnerabilities. Back in the days, I used to love ASAs. CISA's emergency directive confirms active exploitation of Cisco ASA firepower, zero-day vulnerabilities for unauthenticated remote code execution by an advanced threat actor likely APT. The attacker's ability to gain persistence by manipulating read-only memory, ROM, demonstrates an extreme level of sophistication bypassing normal reboots and software upgrades. A lot of times we say that, hey, if you reboot your machine, maybe the foothold will be removed or the attacker might not have the same persistence or access, but it seems like in this case, they do. So the directive set a hard deadline, September 30th, for federal agencies to permanently disconnect all end-of-support Cisco ASA hardware, reinforcing the danger of legacy network equipment. This goes without saying. If you have a legacy infrastructure, if you have legacy software, if you have legacy hardware, please look at it, see how bad the exploits are out there and how easy to exploit those. Look at your attack surface and protect surface, and if possible, if you can, get rid of those stale and old hardware.
And I think, what we're really trying to do here is just move away from more potential of technical debt. So happy to see that mandate. September 26th, the record Arctic Wolf. Aggressive Akira ransomware campaign hits Sonic Wall VPN, Ohio County ransomware. Dwell time collapse. The Akira campaign is moving from credential access to full encryption in under 4 hours, drastically shrinking the window for human-led detection and incident response. The ransomware attack on Union County, Ohio, confirms that local governments with limited budgets are routinely targeted for their valuable citizen PII and their inability to quickly contain a breach. The primary vector is stolen VPN credentials, highlighting the critical failure of traditional perimeter access and making a strong case for zero trust network access with continuous device posture checks.
I think this shows turn on in a way where when we started calculating dwell time, I think it was around 2013, 14, in some report, they started calculating dwell time. It was some days, I think 45 days, then it shrunk to 30 days. I think a few years ago, we started talking about 15 to 18 days, 4 hours. If I'm a SOC analyst, I got an alert this morning. I might not be able to get to it maybe until next morning. That's a 24-hour window that, as much as possible, I would like to be on top of it. It's just not possible as a human. So this is where I think the game of automation, this is where the game of context, and this is where the game of priority will start becoming more important. All right, the last one I have is from September 29th, iBoss, Globe Newswire. Zero trust adoption and cloud demand driving $24.6 billion security service edge market. Let's talk about it. So ZTNA is the starting point. Totally agree. Not everything. ZTNA is just the starting point. ZTNA is identified as a critical initial focus for nearly half of organizations beginning their zero trust or SSE adoption journey. I think I've seen some of the organizations, when they are trying to go through the SSE journey, they'll start sprinkling their zero trust strategy as part of it. Implicit trust is dead. It should have been dead for a long time, but I'm glad to hear that. Industry surveys show confidence in monitoring access with legacy models is at an all-time low, which is accelerating the mandate for explicit verification in all access scenarios, 100%. Machine identity, human identity, who needs access to what and when, it should be verified at all times. Just because I VPN into a network doesn't mean I get to access everything at all times. Maybe I get access to application, maybe the timeout, maybe I need to provide additional authentication when I'm trying to access some critical application. So there's no implicit trust just because Victor authenticated in the morning, 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. He has access to all the network at all times. I think that part is dead.
Yep. And the declining trust in legacy access models is making that explicit verification a must across all access points. And as we mentioned earlier, at a developer level, we need to minimize access and use ZTNA to further verify.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. All right, that's all we have, folks, for our Zero Trust Journey news segment. We'll see you next month. Dana, thanks so much.
Have a great one. Speak to you soon.
That's a wrap on this Zero Trust Journey. Now it's your turn. Step into the spotlight, share your story, and be part of the journey. Subscribe to Zero Trust Journey on LinkedIn for the latest news, events, and giveaways. Until next time.